How we doing out there, folks? I'm just testing to make sure everything's working before we actually start rolling. Everybody all right? All right. Everybody all right out there in chat land? That's good to hear. Okie dokie. Well, everything seems to be surprisingly operational on my end, so that's good to know. All righty then. We'll just do what we got to do. Hopefully, we'll be seeing in just a moment. If we got any technical difficulties, it might be a little bit more in a moment, but I think we're going to be all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it. Kick the tires, light the fires. Let's go.
Of Q broadcast, it's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part, there are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contracts, no extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today. Just $60 a month, no contracts, no hidden fees. It's time to take control of your entertainment and start streaming smarter.
We live in a world where men are told it's harmless. It's just entertainment. But let's stop lying to ourselves. Pornography destroys. It weakens your spirit. It dulls your drive. And it robs you of what real intimacy is supposed to be. Every click is a step away from the man you're supposed to be. We can't call ourselves leaders if we're slaves to a screen.
As someone that is prior service, I know all about discipline. And discipline isn't out there, it's within your mind. Porn rewires your brain, weakens your will, wrecks all of your relationships. It doesn't just stay on a screen, it invades your marriage, your confidence, and your actual purpose. As men, if we don't learn to discipline ourselves, we'll be ruled by our impulses. Now, it is time to stand up and take control before this silent war takes more than you're willing to lose.
Real men don't hide in the shadows of shame. We step up and we protect what's ours. We fight for our wives and kids, our own hearts. Twitter isn't just an app. It's a weapon. It's a tool used to break free and start living like the man that you're meant to be. The battle's here and it starts with you. You can stop living in shame and you can break free today.
selling real one Chevy.
Propagating truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the John Age Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the Anomic Age, and I am your host, John Age, coming at you, I guess proudly, from the coastal plains of the Old North State. I'll be your tour guide this evening as we take a somewhat satirical journey down the path of murder, destruction, mayhem, and the extermination of human life on this planet. A forced march into obsolescence thrust upon us by a global Luciferian death cult of pedophiles. Thanks so much for being with us, folks. Thank you very, very much for being here. Make some time. I will definitely be taking you well into the dark side of the AM this evening. But before I do that, please check out anomicage.com. Looks a lot like this. Like all the likes, subscribe to all the subscriptions. PayPal.me/anomicage. Patreon.com/anomicage. You guessed it. That's the best ways that you can do anything to help me here in the coastal plain of the Old North State to keep propagating truth in the proverbial, literal, and quite obvious world of lies that we're all in this little handbasket, folks. We really are. It's disgusting out there. It really is. All right. So I got so much to get into this evening. I'm going to do it like I've been doing it. I'm going to kind of break this thing up into kind of a two-parter. I like to kind of break things up into about 30-minute increments. I know the vast majority of the American public has the intellect and the attention span of a goldfish, so it's hard to do. Everyone wants little masticated and almost easily digested nuggets of knowledge in these little short 30-second clips, so you can just send them to your friends and watch these little clips on Instagram and on Twitter and on Twitch and on everything else. But that ain't how I roll. So if that's what you're into, hey, there's plenty of other shows out there for the delusional, for the deluded, and for the downright dumb. This ain't one of them. We're going to go deep into the pool tonight. We sure are, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start out with a little obvious. How obvious is it, John? It's this obvious. We're going to get into symbolism, rituals, and sacrifice. Symbols, rituals, and sacrifice. That's right. That's right. We're going to talk about it all night. So we're going to talk about some little symbols, some rituals, and sacrifice. Shout out to Big Reed on Instagram. I know you probably ain't listening to this, Big Reed. You don't know me. You never will. But I love your work, man. I know it's not in vogue for, what do we call ourselves now? Content creators. I just say this is a podcast about the truth. And Big Reed's dropping all kinds of truth on you, too. So if you're inclined, check out Big Reed on the Instagram. I think it's Big Reed, like 77777 something. It took his account down several times. Big surprise. But nevertheless, Big Reed's all the time dropping truth bombs, truth grenades, truth incendiary devices, truth surface-to-air missiles, truth any way he can drop it on y'all folks. So one thing that old Big Reed has discussed many times before is exactly what I'm going to be discussing this evening. That's right. Yeah. Rituals, symbols, and sacrifice. So we're going to delve into this whole Charlie Kirk thing for like the 1,000th time. And we're going to talk about just that, the symbolism, the rituals, and the sacrifice. I'm not really going to go broad spectrum and just talk about the obvious stuff that you should already know about our society. But we'll dance with it a little bit. We'll pick up our partner. We'll do-si-do. We'll do a little two-step, a little shaky-shake. And we'll talk about the broad spectrum of the obvious Symbolism, rituals, and sacrifice has been going on in this society since, roughly 1776, a little bit before, a little bit after, I would say. So we're going to talk about it in a broader sense, and we're going to get specific and talk a little Charlie Kirk. Novel, odd, how interestingly new. But don't worry, at about the 30-minute mark, or maybe a little after, we'll see. I will talk as long as I want to talk. We're going to get into something new. We're going to talk about David Riesman and his work, The Lonely Crowd. This is really, really, really an interesting book. A lot to really uncover in his book, The Lonely Island. I know we will not have time to get into all of it this evening. Most people will check out and just start watching sports or looking at something retarded, by like the 5-minute mark. So away with you. But alas, if you're going to stick around for the main event, we're going to talk about the David Riesman work, The Lonely Crowd. Remember last time we talked a little transition, reintegration, liminal, post-liminal, and even communitas. We might dance with that a little bit more tonight, but I want to talk about this David Riesman book. I kind of found it by accident because I was looking up something else, and I had heard about this a long time ago, and I researched it a long time, and I knew I wanted to talk about it a long time ago. But alas, things slip your mind, and you end up just moving on. But I can't recommend this book enough. Encyclopedia of Sociology. It's an oldie but goodie. I think it's like, I know I've mentioned this before on this doggone show, but I can't remember what the copyright was. It was like 1972, I believe. Nay, 1974. So anyway, good luck finding it. But if you can, it's filled to the brim with the information you need to know to decipher the morass of satanic death cultdom that we are, in fact, in diddly-do in. So we'll talk about the David Riesman book a little bit later, but I know you want to talk about the realness. You want to talk about, this. Symbolism, rituals, and sacrifice. You guessed it, folks. That is courtesy of yours truly, the autistic wonderment, symbols, rituals, and sacrifice. I figured the Katy Perry graphic would get some clicks, if nothing else, because I know how you people are. And if I know one thing, it's, certain things sell. The old, if it bleeds, it leads. The macabre and the provocative. They all sell. So, you'll get the average boob clicking on it, and then they'll immediately click away in 30 seconds. So he's not going to talk about. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'll talk about whatever I want to talk about. So, alas, here you are, there I am. Let's delve into the deep end, or I'd say like shallow end of the pool. Maybe we're like 6 feet at this juncture. We're going all the way to the Olympic end by about the 30-minute mark. We got to talk about this one, folks. The symbolism of this whole shindig. So, whatever do you want to talk about, John? Let's get into it. There's so much to get into. We're going to talk about some of the obvious stuff that you should already know, but if you don't, it's all right. We'll get into it at great depth. So, Erica Kirk, everyone's darling, I suppose, in 2025, year of our Lord, ever since September 10th, anyway. So, what has transpired? Some of this I've laid out before, but in case you missed it, I'm right here knocking on your door. I'm about to drop these truth bombs on you once more. Here's what's up. She was already a millionaire before her and Charlie Kirk even met faithfully on their pilgrimage to Israel, because that's what everybody does, right? I mean, gracious, goodness sakes alive. I'm going to draw a lot of juxtapositions tonight. I'm going to really compare what I would say the average person to at least these two individuals, if not the very least Erica. And then, hey, I'll say Charlie too. I'll even say Mr. DJT, Donald John Trump, if you're nasty. We're going to talk about the average person and juxtapose it to them. And if you're very affluent and you're listening to this show, God bless you. I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful that you have those lovelies to get into. We read a little bit of 2 Timothy tonight, talking about just that. talking about, talking about, how was it worded? I almost fouled it up. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And if you're with me for several shows now, you remember that OJ song, which is what I'll reference here once again when we'll discuss Erica. For the love of money, people will. Anybody look up that OJ song yet? For the love of money, people will kill their own lovers. Yeah, little OJs for you folks. You should be listening to OJs. If you're not, you're missing out. What about a little backstabber? Backstabbers. Yeah, this could be a backstabbing situation if you ain't clear. All right, so here's the real deal, Holyfield, with his whole shindig. Erica Kirk was not a pauper. She was far from middle class. Apparently, she was a multimillionaire before she ran into, on her pilgrimage to Israel, old Charles Kirk. So here's a little other stuff in case you missed it. The $12 million fortune Charlie Kirk leaves his wife and kids following the shooting. Did anyone else ever look into this as well? Because there seemed to be people, and I looked into this a little bit. Some of it was fraudulent. Some of it was just hyperbole. Some of it was downright just lies. But there seemed to be several celebrities just falling all over themselves to ensure that Charlie Kirk and his family were well taken care of in his untimely demise. And I kind of went, did you think this guy was like working at a gas station or something? Get the bleep out of here. Get out of here, folks. I think he was ending with a salary of well over like $280,000 a year. He started with a meager $27,000 in his first year, and it bumped all the way up to darn near 200 and some thousand. So yeah. Please don't be mistaken. This guy was not begging for change on the corner. I ain't saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with affluence, having money, or otherwise doing well for yourself. That ain't what I'm saying. So if you're thinking that, check yourself on out. There's someone else's podcast you can listen to. So that's what we got on this one. But wait, there's more. Charlie Kirk's enduring empire, MAGA, starts a $100 million political machine inherited by devastated widow. So I thought it was just 12, but this article says, hey, nay. We're talking a whole lot more than 12. So I ain't saying anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, yeah, this is what I mentioned before here. Charlie Kirk's salary, $285,000. Yeah. That's word. And he reported a salary of just $27,000 when he first dropped out of college and took the reins of what would become the megalopolis empire of Turning Point, USA. So, again, I'm just giving you the dinero because, as they say, it's all about the money. That old cui bono thing. Who benefits? Cui bono. Who benefits from the death of Charles Kirk? I don't know, but I'm just giving you some information. Do it to what you want. Throw it out like candy to pray. Grab your little bag, put the candy in it. You might read it later. Let's see how it goes. All right, here we go. We got some more. Tenemos más. I see. Nearly $5 million raised from Charlie Kirk's family following assassination as Turning Point USA sees upward of 18,000 new chapter requests overnight. But don't get ahead of yourself, estudiantes, because I got to tell you, man, a la universidad y a la colegiala es terrible. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? The college university is a cesspool of poo-poo, a villainous hive of scum and villainy. So if you want them 18,000 new chapters, God bless you. I hope it works out. But just remember, you're stepping into the terror dome, a pit of slimy, villainous filth that will do nothing more than try to assure that you're not welcome. You know what I'm saying? You ain't welcome in the church of Satanists at La Universidad. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know what you're thinking. What else we got? We got the obvious. Why does that dang thing keep doing that? It makes me crazy. We got the obvious, right? So I just ran down for you the dollars and cents. Doesn't mean much. It just means, hey, take with it what you will. Okay? What else we got? Let me see. This might intrigue many of you. If you look at the picture, where's our doggone picture? There it is. Symbols, rituals, and sacrifice. So you might be familiar with some of these symbols. And if you're not, you should be. You really should be. We're going to take you through just sort of a smattering of some obvious symbols. Some of the symbols you've probably seen by perhaps your favorite celebrity, your favorite sports star, maybe your favorite musical artist. If you can still call them artists at this point. If you're calling anybody that does music in 2025 an artist, gracious goodness sakes alive. I wonder about your sanity. But I digress. So here's the deal. It's already on the screen for you. That little triangle symbol that they just got over the eye. All these celebrities and artists and entertainers of all sorts, colors, shapes, sizes, varieties, sexual orientations, and proclamations. They all seem to be all too happy to take photographs with one eye closed. What's that old Soundgarden song? With my good eye closed. I don't do a good Chris Cornell. I really don't. So, as Soundgarden and the late Chris Cornell once said, with my good eye closed. I don't know if that was a wink and a nod to all this, pun intended about the wink, by the way, or if it was just happenstance. Remember what they say? Or what I said on many episodes of this show. Once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, and 3 times is enemy action. So I would suggest to you that we might have some very well placed enemy action out there in the cult of celebrity. Because if you would look up any of your favorite celebrities, I guarantee to you with almost 100% certainty, they got some pictures of themselves with one eye closed, doing a little this, a little covering one eye, maybe a little hair, a little, what's that stupid, the swoop. They got the swoop over one eye, you know, the swoop head boobs from a couple years ago, swoop heading around. They got that swoop head over one eye, you know, David Cassidy thing. Anyway, so they got one eye closed. And if they don't, they probably got some imagery of them making this sign. They're just sitting like this. You know, Charlie Kirk and DJT like to make that too. And apparently Elon Musk, because remember at the memorial service, old Elon and DJT were just sitting there side by side making the diamond sign with their manos. Que extraña, no? How strange. Because everybody does that, right? You know, again, I'll draw you back to the juxtaposition. There's the normal people that don't do that. And there's everybody else that just seems to, coincidentally enough, be making triangle signs left, right, center, and otherwise. Covering their eye in just about every photograph 8 days a week and twice on Sunday. I mean, it just gets comical, doesn't it? Are we leaving something out? Alas, we are. We're leaving out the red bracelet. Ooh. Tucker Carlson, he's got his little string, his little red bracelet string. Allegedly, that means old Tucker, alas, from, you know, direct lineage of deep state CIA royalty. He didn't know his dad was CIA for like 20 years, right? Was that stupid laugh he does? It's so nauseating. Anyway, so old Tucker, he suddenly found Jesus. I hope so. Praise the Lord if that's the case. He suddenly figured out the deep state was the deep state. You know, he suddenly figured out right was left and left was right. And it was all the wings of the same bird. I mean, gracious goodness sakes alive, Tucker. But we're supposed to be led to believe that old Tucker Carlson ain't deep state. No, he's on the side of the right. Whatever that means in 2025, I got to tell you. But he's also been photographed multiple times. Muchos tiempos. Yeah. With the old dangly red bracelet. Yeah, la pulsera roja, Tucker. What does that mean? It means you're for our greatest ally. And the tail of the tape tends to say that your esposa es también. Your wife might be too, Tucker. What a surprise. My goodness, I'm surprised. Which leads us to other obvious things. Jewelry. I've never been a jewelry kind of guy. It kind of befuddles me to see dudes that are into jewelry myself. But apparently it's kind of a common thing for dudes to be repping some bracelets and be repping some rings with all kinds of insignias on them, especially if you're of the Masonic order. Just ask Shaq. He's got a big old Masonic ring. He's all too happy to show you that above all the championships. 33rd degree, you know that's me. That's what House of Pain used to say. Maybe that's what Shaky Poo's saying too. I just don't know. Do you? But along with that Masonic emblems, you got to look at Erica Kirk too. Because when she was, I guess getting a camera crew to go in there and film her last look at her deceased, assassinated husband, whose hands look not real. But anyway, while that was going on, she happened to be repping her G-ring. Please, somebody in the comments, let me know what the G-ring's all about. Maybe Erica's cleared this up. And she said, nay, crowd, the G-ring don't mean what you think it does. It has no Masonic significance. Just like her cross of Malta has no significance to her Jesuit education, nor anything to do with the Maltic organization. Nay. But wait, there's more. We've already covered this ad nauseum, so if it's new to you, then cool. But other oddities, we've already covered that she, happened to be the offspring of her madre, who just so happens to be into the deep state, Department of Defense. We covered that last time. Just coincidental, of course. And then she also just gets a letter in the mail. I mean, I can't count the letters I've got in the mail saying, hey, John, would you be interested in doing some modeling? I mean, it just happens all the time. Every last chick I know just getting modeling invitations from Donald John Trump saying, hey, why don't you just jump into this USA pageant and then you can be Miss USA, I suppose, in Arizona anyway. But that's what happened to old Erica. How odd, isn't it? So multimillionaire, before she ever met old Charles, was invited personally to be in a beauty pageant. I mean, that just always happens. Then she becomes an actress and a talent scout for old DJT, Donald John Trump. It's better done. And then before she's 18, she somehow puts together a missionary company that goes to Europe and goes to Israel to hang out with our greatest allies and meet Charlie Kirk. And then bada bing, bada boom, before you know it, they're esposos. They're husband and wife. And they begin having children, which you never see their faces. But while there, her organization was summarily asked to leave because that organization and many others were told to scram because there was connections to the organization and child trafficking. So children being disappeared and just showing up in other places, like Israel. So they asked her to get out of Dodge all too quickly. Just a coincidence. It has nothing to do with anything. I mean, I'm just throwing out information, a deluge of information, just to see what's up. It's just like, I don't know. Just seems strange, but it shouldn't be strange because after all, this is just commonplace. You're in the land of the sheep, home of the slave. This is just how things go, don't you know? What else we got? We got more information for you. You can shake a stick at, disappear, reappear. What do we got right here? We got 33 degrees coming up again. We got so many 33 degrees, man. It's unbelievable. I know there's one not on your screen, but don't worry. I'll put it up in a moment. So this should be odd to you. The State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Somebody's going, so? No, es importante, Juanito. Así, mira aquí. What do we got here? Its coordinates, place it around 33rd degree. Yeah. That's degrees, minutes, seconds. If you're following along with the north latitude there, it's 33rd degree, 31 minutes and 39 seconds in the degrees, minutes, seconds, coordinates. But the 33rd degree north latitude, how odd. What are the chances that this memorial service, complete with the fireworks display, like an 8-hour montage, CGI Charlie Kirk, I mean, just replete with all sorts of merchandise and memorabilia, over 80,000 people there, over 100,000 people, total, because there was more people outside than could even get in. That's what we got going down at the 33rd degree. How bizarre. But wait, there's more. How much more? Quite a bit more. What is this one? Oh, my goodness. This is the... There we go. This one's one you might not have seen. This is from KUTV.com. 33 minutes with a shooter on campus is a long time for somebody so inclined to do a lot of damage. ¿Cuántos tiempo? 33 minutes. 33rd degrees. North latitude. 33 minutes on campus. My goodness gracious sakes alive. It's downright insane. How bizarre. How's that old song go? How bizarre. How bizarre indeed. Oh my gracious goodness sakes alive. I'm missing something, doggone it. I'm about to put it on the screen for you because it's making me hostile. All right, this one disappeared a moment ago, but not this time, buddy. Yep, we got more. This is the one, and I've full disclosure with y'all on this one. I don't really get into the geomatria, the zoomatria, or the whatever matria that a lot of cats get into with this numerology deal. So I ain't going to give you much of this. This is the only bit of numerological information that I'm going to give you that is even the least bit suspect. Because I hate all that mess where you're like carrying the 1, dividing by 3, multiplying by 69. Who knows? All that jibber jabber is just that, jibber jabber to me. So saith Mr. T. So what's up you seen on the screen there is the 33rd degree once again. They're saying the 3 rows of hats. They're showing the 47 there in 3 rows of hats. And they're saying the 4 plus the 7 equals 11. And if you add those all up, it equals ¿qué? Oh, yeah. 33 otra vez, no? 33 once again. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Exactly. It's a little odd, but alas, there's a lot more. I just threw this one on there. This is not a direct connect to this, but I had to throw this in there because if you remember, DJT was all about saying the Epstein thing's not real. It's a Democratic hoax. And how many pages? U.S. panel releases over 33,000 pages of Epstein files. How many? 33,000? Huh. That's pretty odd. That's pretty bizarre even. That's downright spooky. Very strange. All right. I was able to just synthesize, standardize, and homogenize this next clip into a short clip from several lengthy clips for you. Because I was going to give you, 3 or 4 different videos. And I said, nah, we ain't doing it. I'm going to just package it in one nice little video clip. And then we can roll the video and we can see what it says and let it do what it do. Let's see what it says. Oh, my gracious. Here we go. This is Kash Patel from the news conference right after they were able to apprehend the suspect. You remember the suspect, Tyler? Mm-hmm. That name's going to come up again in a minute. Let's hear from Kash Patel. Then we're going to hear from Governor Cox of Utah. And then we're going to hear from DJT once again. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's make sure the volume's up because somebody's going to complain and I'm going to say, get away from me.
In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. The suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight.
Let me replay that for you. Somebody missed this.
In 33 hours, we have.
In how many hours? Was it like 12 hours? Maybe 24 hours? This is like the greatest ally thing. How many times do you have to hear this stuff before you start to realize, what the heck, something's awry here? 33 hours.
Have made historic progress.
Historic progress.
The suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise.
See, old Kash Patel had to clarify. He said in less than 36 hours, then he had to backtrack because he wanted to make sure he was going to be included in the Illuminati Christmas card. He said 33 to be exact. He didn't have to say that. He could have just said, he could have rounded it to 36. He could have said 34. He said, nay, I am not going to get excommunicated from the cult No way. I got a honeypot waiting at the crib for me from Israel. And I am not going to be excluded from the Illuminati Christmas card. They got a bonus coming this year, a big one for Cash Patel, because he mentioned a 33rd degree dos tiempos. He clarified that. He was like, no, ain't no way I'm missing out on this bonus this year. George Soros Christmas card is going to have $33.
Thanks to the full weight of the federal government.
Hold up. We're about to hear from Governor Cox.
This bad stuff happens, and for 33 hours, I was praying that.
Does the body language and the whole lingo of Governor Cox just make you want to heave? This guy, it's like he's like all like, he's just bipping and bopping. He's like, man, I probably took some stuff before I came out here, so I'd make sure and say 33. What a crock of nothing, man. This clown wants you to believe, the general public to believe, that he's been praying for 33 hours? Whoa. Governor Cox has been praying for 33 hours that it wasn't someone from his state. Please. You got to be kidding me, Governor Cox. I mean, this is just preposterous, recalculous even.
If this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country.
Immediately that Charlie was.
Hold up. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We've covered the Governor Cox thing. We've covered the Cash Patel 2 times a lady. Talking about 33 otra vez. And now we've moved up to the man of the hour, DJT. So at this illustrious memorial service that looked like a rally, not a memorial service. If I croak and anyone throws me anything like this, I'm going to jump out the casket, come back from beyond the grave, and smite you all. So yeah, we had the 33-degree north parallel, coincidentally, that we were at the State Farm Stadium with over 80,000 people in attendance, marching past the money changers. Oh, I mean, marching past the people selling product and trying to get more solicitations. And did you get the email from Turning Point about giving them some money? I mean, apparently a lot of other people did. I didn't get one. I mean, I'm not very cool, so I can't imagine why I'd be on the list. They probably looked at my tax returns and were like, whoa, we better just let this guy get what he can get, because goodness gracious sakes alive, he can't possibly contribute to our war chest. Anyway, so yeah, for real though. This is where old DJT is about to reference another hidden hand message. Let's see it.
Actually a master builder.
He was a master builder. I mean, what? Again, folks, juxtapose normal people that don't speak like this to this kind of jive. How many times in your illustrious life, may it be long, have you ever said master builder when referencing anyone? Nunca, never. Just like I've never worn a little droopy string red bracelet either. Just like I've never been repping a big Masonic ring either. That just doesn't happen in normal conversation, nor normal attire, nor normal people's lives. But I guess if you just drop in 33rd degree messaging, then yeah, you go, yo, Charlie was a master builder of people.
Master builder of people.
He was a master builder of people, DJT. Come on, man. Master builder of people. He wanted to make sure that no one caught on that he was really talking about a master builder a la the Masons. Gracious goodness sakes alive. We got some more to talk about. We do, really. I got to cover this one because I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Maybe I'll do that on another show. But we got to talk about the 1998 movie Snake Eyes. No, pertaining not at all to the great G.I. Joe character Snake Eyes. You know, the relative to Storm Shadow, one of the greatest G.I. Joe characters of all time. And please don't think I'm talking about that horse buttock movie, because that is excrement. No, I'm talking about the 80s cartoon. Oh, yeah, I know it was, you know, deep state funded to get a bunch of Gen Xers involved in the military. And thankfully, it didn't work for me. So, nevertheless, the 1998 movie Snake Eyes, starring none other than Nicolas Cage. Check this out. I know you've already seen this all awash with social media, so I'm just going to drop a little sprinkling on it for you. Charles Kirkland, a political figure, was shot in the neck. Yeah. You know, Cuello, I know. Charles Kirkland was shot in the neck. How bizarre. Lincoln Tyler was the alleged shooter in the movie. You mean like Tyler Robinson? What? No, I'm sorry. That's not accurate. He was the boxer in the movie. I was conflating there. Don't let it conflate you. Yeah, Lincoln Tyler was the boxer in the movie. He was also labeled as the executioner. He was the boxer, the executioner. But of course, that's not at all similar to Tyler Robinson. I know. In the movie, this happened on ¿Qué día? Oh, yeah. September 10th. When did Charlie Kirk die? Yeah, September 10th. And he was allegedly executed by someone named Tyler Robinson, the executioner. Not Lincoln Tyler, though. It's kind of different. Yeah. What else we got? It happened in the year of the snake in real life. And of course, the movie was Snake Eyes. Came out in 1998. Again, I got to say, how bizarre. How bizarre. How bizarre. So to get into the ritual aspect of this whole thing, folks, in case you have not figured this out, the dark side of the force loves to use rituals, sacrifice, and symbolism. It's everywhere. It's been replete in great societies for thousands and thousands of years. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Aztecs, to a lesser extent, the Mayans and Olmecs. But nevertheless, if you look at what they were doing, they were using what? Come on, class, say it with me. Symbols, rituals, and sacrifice. Yes, exactly, folks. Symbols, rituals, and sacrifice. It all comes back, doesn't it? So they would do a lovely ritual sacrifice. They'd get a big crowd for this, and oftentimes it was precluded by a ball game in which sometimes the winner and sometimes the loser will be ritually sacrificed. Big crowd, bunch of chanting. Yeah. Bunch of symbolism with the blood, cutting out the still beating hearts at the top of the altar, the Templo Mayor. Letting the blood flow, letting the dismembered body fall to the bottom of the pyramid to be ritualistically cannibalized by the elites and those that were taking place in the capture or slaughter of the individual. Sound familiar yet? Yeah, it's ritualistic. It's much like the Romans and much like the Greeks. You see, they had the Colosseums in Rome. The bread and circuses for the slaves. Yeah, they'd get a big crowd together and they would do what? Watch ritual combat. Watch ritual sacrifice. Making sense yet, folks? It should. Perhaps it isn't. So now, in 2025, year of our Lord, we don't really have such obvious harbingers of doom, such obvious symbols and rituals and sacrifice. You see, we let it play out in a bit of a pantomime because we have ritual gladiatorial events every Sunday now, right? Because after all, it's foosball season. So you get a bunch of crowded, drunken boobs together and they put on the adornments of their favorite character. They dress in costume and they get together and scream at one side or the other side, you know, the tribalism. And then at the end, they have the granddaddy of them all, the Super Bowl. Oh boy, now it all starts to play out because it's every single year, it's becoming more and more evident that it is just tore up from the floor up with symbolism. We got somebody covering their eyes. We got somebody flashing all kinds of hand signals. You know, just like Erica Kirk was doing at the memorial. You know, just like she was doing as she was going off the airport, I believe. She was holding her crucifix or cross out the window, and she was doing the little 3-finger sign, because everybody does that. I mean, I can't count the times I've been just throwing. I made a 3-pointer, except I wasn't on the basketball court and I wasn't a referee, and I just happened to be throwing the 3-finger sign up all the time. I mean, it's just can't count the times I've done it. It's just every day almost, just throwing that up, throwing up the devil horn, because that's always fun, or the I love you, because it's totally different, and it's just commonplace for the average person to be throwing up the I love you sign to strangers. I mean, can't count the times I've done it. I mean, I'm oftentimes in traffic, I'll throw up the I love you, go to a shopping center, I love you, just to random strangers, just let them know I'm loving them unconditionally, forever, siempre, siempre. Anyway, so, and also obviously just covering my eye from time to time. I like to do that whenever I go into a store, just do the eye cover. Whenever I go into an airport, just eye cover. It's just sort of like a reflex action. Eye cover, eye cover, eye cover. Any establishment, they got the cameras in every store now, especially if you're on any sort of cosmetic aisle, they got the deodorant locked up behind plexiglass. And anytime any store, just eye cover, eye cover, eye cover, brandish, brandish, brandish. It's crazy, but it's something that we all do, and we all just might as well start accepting that's the norm. So when I'm sitting, I try to man spread and do the triangle symbol with my fingers, definitely. And then if anyone comes in and wants to take a picture, you know what time it is. Yeah, eye cover time. Anyway, back to the obvious. So the foosball Super Bowl ritual is obviously the big coup de grace, when you get to throw in all the symbolism, the gladiatorial combat, the tribalism. It's got everything but the sacrifice. It's kind of like a mock sacrifice, like the cremation of care a la Bohemian Grove, but kind of different, because, in their ritual, there's probably someone actually dying. And in the Super Bowl, there's just people getting paralyzed, drug off, injured, or just too drunk or on steroids or whatever, and might collapse over from the dreaded COVID vaccine. You never can tell. So there could be something like that involved in this as well. But I know that you're very familiar with the foosball halftime show. Can we put this on screen for the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, those of you who are still identify as human? Yeah, because you'd much rather look at these people than my ugly mug. So I just put up there the Katy Perry obvious halftime show, where she's wearing some lovely cross negligee. She's surrounded by fire. There's satanic demons behind her. I mean, she is kind of like the vanilla princess of this whole thing, really, because there's so many others. There's the Lady Gaga. I can't remember that gay dude from England that wants to dress like a devil or something weird. It's so gross, but there's that dude. I mean, there's the litany of hip hop and black stars that likes to do that. The Megan Thee Stallion. And what was the chick she replaced? Oh man, I can't think of that ugly chick with oh man, I can't think of her name. Anyway, you get the drift. It's all the same. It's all hand signals. It's all flashing signs. And there's Beyonce too, that boob who now thinks she's a country star. And the commercial just makes me wince inside. It's just disgusting. But I digress. I don't want to get on a big name calling and being mean thing, because that's too easy. All this is ritual, ladies and gentlemen. In case you missed it, this is all ritualistic. So you do not have to be the Masonic order to be a part of this, because here's the deal. Your acquiescence is your consent. By going along with this, you are consenting. By watching it, by singing it, by partaking in the ritual, you are becoming part of the ritual. See how that works? It's great. So just like the 80,000 people in attendance at the 33rd degree at the State Farm Stadium, or whatever the bleep it was, they were all willing participants in the ritual too. That's as clear as I can make it to you. So you don't actually have to be throwing the hand signals up and dressing like a demon and all that jive to be part of it. Just your acquiescence, your acceptance, your consent is enough to make you part of the ritual. So this has always worked from the Aztecs, Mayans, Romans, and Greeks, and so on into today. The powers that be get energy from the acquiescence of the slave class to the ritual. It's even better when they can kill somebody. So if you look at these different rituals over the years, there's the obvious, the Great War, World War I. That was a huge death ritual. World War II, huge death ritual. Korean War, kind of light death ritual in the grand scheme of things. And then we're right back into Vietnam, predicated on a false flag, huge death ritual. And part of it is showing you the death over and over again. So part of Vietnam was showing the dead bodies over and over again. Tom Brokaw with more dead bodies. Oh, these child killers are throwing napalm on babies. All this kind of mess. This was really getting you acclimated to the world that we live in today, where I have seen Charlie Kirk get shot more times than I've seen my own wedding footage, folks. It's ghastly. But yet they show you this again and again and again and again. And just like the towers falling and the false flag of 9/11. It's part of the ritual to get the people involved, to get them emotionally invested. In case you missed my episode on the social contagion, and I would probably say more to the point, the emotional contagion of this. The emotional contagion is key. So even if you're not in the stadium, you're still participating. You're watching the video. You're talking about it at the water cooler. I can't believe this. Oh my goodness, this, that, and the other. Tribalism. They've subjugated and separated the classes of slaves into right, left. I think mine's better. Folks, this is not normal behavior. As the late, great George Carlin once said, it's a big club and you ain't in the club, folks. You see, so if this stuff is not normal to you, if you're not normally flashing hand signs, wearing red bracelets, wearing big G rings, talking about master builders in conversation, if this is not you, which I'm thinking my listening audience, probably not you, probably not. If that's you, that's cool. We could have some Illuminati agents listening. That's awesome. Welcome to the club. My club. Anyway, I digress. So, I'm covering my eye right now. This is me itching my eye is an Illuminati ritual sacrifice. Hopefully in the next show, I'll be part of the black eye club and I'll have like that one black eye and I'll say I ran into a door or something lame and you'll buy that because I'm going to be part of that club too. Anyway, so this is all part of symbols, rituals, and sacrifice. How many sacrifices are we talking, John? You stopped at Vietnam, lad. I know there's so many more. So you want to talk about Malcolm X? You want to talk about MLK, RLK, JFK, too, John Lennon. There's so much more for you. All these were ritual sacrifices, ladies and gentlemen. The Reagan thing, they were attempting yet another ritual sacrifice. If you believe the DJT attempted sacrifice, good on you. You have more faith in that cult than I do. But I ain't buying that one. But this one seems to have all the hallmarks of the ritual sacrifice club. So, juxtapose this ritual sacrifice to the JFK sacrifice. Juxtapose the deceased JFK's wife to what we saw with Erica Kirk. It's like night and day. They did not have this sort of ritual show trial of sorts, the show memorial for JFK. Maybe they would have if they had all the technology of today. I ain't buying it, folks. I think we have moved the Overton window so far over that now, since we've been acclimated for the last 20 some odd years with every Super Bowl, it's kind of like, for me, there'd be no betting on the game because that is just dumb. But you could bet on like how many Illuminati gestures, symbols, and rituals we could work into the Super Bowl. That would be, something to possibly bet on with your friends because the game is just trite. But you could bet on, how over the top is this ritual Super Bowl going to be? Is it going to be like a full on, like we're sacrificing a baby at the halftime show? We got like blood drinking with Lady Gaga and Madonna. We've got some sort of depraved orgy going on in the midst of the whole thing. That's what I'm betting on because the Overton window has moved so much generationally that, now it's pretty much all bets are off. So Lord only knows what the Super Bowl is going to be this year. I know it's going to be uber satanico, absolutamente. But alas, I have almost talked way too much. because I really want to get into this. I don't know whether to just make this a separate show or if we're just good to go. I don't know. Because I got a whole lot more deep into the pool to talk about. Okay, so I think as a listening audience now, we're familiar with ritual symbols and sacrifice. That's easy. That's low end of the pool. It's not even deep at all. But what we got to get into is something completely different. Let's check it out. This one, we'll see if we can put this one on the screen for you, because this is what I actually wanted to talk about this evening. I kind of just got off on a bit of a jag. Don't worry, I'll scroll it up for you. The term is mass society, a term used to characterize complex industrial societies. It draws attention to the uniformity of material goods, ideas, and lifestyles. Is this making sense to you? You're living in a mass society, folks. So if you don't know that, please take note. Mass societies are often contrasted with traditional caste or elitist class societies. Hello. Am I making sense? Yeah, this is reality, Colin. I'm knocking on your door. Can I come in and maybe interest you in some Avon, maybe some Amway? How about just some truth in a world of lies? Let's go. Mass characteristics, together with high population density and urbanization, are usually attributed to the industrial and democratic revolutions, political centralization, and the development of mass media. Yes, this came out in 1974. Mass media was not what it is today. What do you think mass media is all about right now? Let's delve back into the pool. The press, radio, television, and widespread literacy. That was back when people actually knew how to read. Good grief. Living in the land of idiocracy now, I am fairly confident that most of society doesn't know how to read at even like a fourth grade level. Definitely can't write, because all they do is short, little jumbled up nonsensical speak for the mentally retarded. But, you know, once upon a time, people knew how to read and write también. Oh, my gracious goodness. Mass production, large-scale organization, and rational bureaucracies are symptomatic. But wait, there's more, because this is where it really gets good. Somebody's already tuned out. Good. Be away with you, imbecile. Critics of mass society emphasize its impersonal aspects. What? Impersonal aspects? You mean like in 2025 when people allegedly have more friends than ever on social media, but no real friends in the real world? Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about. What do you think? Its impersonal aspects and the ease with which the resulting dehumanized, fragmented, and isolated individuals can be what? Can be manipulated commercially and politically. Ooh, I think I have thus hit a nerve. Dehumanized society, anyone? Take a look around you. Fragmented and isolated individuals that can easily be manipulated by what? The commercial and political environments of which we live. If you're not picking up what I'm putting down, please rewind this track and listen to it again. This is the mass society of which we currently live. This is it. We've become a mass of morass, a mass of dehumanized, fragmented, isolated individuals, little incels that are so easily manipulated by the winds of change. No, I'm not talking about the scorpions and that winds of change. Nay, that was a propaganda piece, by the way, in case you missed it. And the winds of change. Yeah, that was a propaganda piece, 8 days a week and twice on Sunday. Good song, but nevertheless, pure propaganda. So, yeah, people are so easily swayed by the winds of change from the right, from the left, from the otherwise. They're easily controlled, folks. Please pick up this. Easily controlled. Don't even begin to describe it. That is the current society. That is the mass society that we live in. Easily controlled, easily pliable. It's just downright sick. But wait, there's more. That was really just the primer. What I wanted you to dip your little tootsies in the water and get your feet just a little bit wet for the realness. I know people aren't ready for the realness, so it's okay. You can watch sports. You can just listen to some music on YouTube, just bang your head against the wall, slam your face in the door, whatever it takes. It's just away with you. If you can't handle the truth, that's fine. There's plenty of other shows that'll just give you the pablum that you probably deserve. What we really got to talk about is this one. The Lonely Crowd. Again, I kind of found this again by accident, but a great piece, and I highly recommend it. Not because this guy is some sort of conservative, right-wing Christian. No. Lord have mercy. Look at his last name. You know he's not christened. But he's highly influenced by the Frankfurt School, by that critical race theory. I know. But bear with me a minute. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because this book's actually pretty spot on. So much to get into. My gracious goodness, I've got darn near a page of notes here. The Lonely Crowd. This is a 1950 book by David Riesman. He was attorney turned in social scientist, a.k.a. sociologist. Not a cultural anthropologist. No. Not a psychologist, but a sociologist. Yeah. Anyway, so check this out. This is where it gets good, because this is a 1950s book that breaks down society into 3 different distinct cultural types. So this joker died pretty early on. Let me see when old Riesman died. Oh, come on. I feel like it was 1982. I could be mistaken. That's kind of neither here nor there with the validity of his work. But nevertheless, and also taking into account The Lonely Crowd, it was kind of a title pushed on him by the publisher. Doesn't really have a bleep of a lot to do with the subject matter that he was trying to convey, nor what he was studying. So here goes. He broke it down into 3 different distinct cultural patterns. Number 1 being the traditional directed crowd. He would say it was kind of old school. He was looking at the current society. Keep in mind, this is 1950, so he was around for quite a while. He was around sort of at the cusp of the Industrial Revolution, and that's what he began writing about. So the traditional directed crowd would be those that are kind of stuck in the old ways. They obeyed old traditions. What a concept, huh? Less likely to thrive now, and now being in the 1950s, but you could also say now in the 2025 year of our Lord. So he was saying less likely to survive in the information age that was on the precipice at 1950 and would only grow exponentially in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. So the traditional crowd was just that, stuck in their old ways, very much in the traditional vibe, if you will, bruh. The traditional vibe of a pre-industrial age. Here's a kind of funny on this one, because he was saying some of the cultures that he would pigeonhole, peg, or otherwise put in the traditional directed would be the Native American or Indian Hopi. All right, maybe. He was also saying the Chinese, I guess. I mean, they were in the throes of the Maoist cultural revolution about the time this book came out. Also, he was also suggesting that the Hindus would be stuck in that traditional directed societal cultural clip, according to David Riesman. But wait, there's more. He also said the second of these would be the inner directed. The inner directed, folks, my goodness gracious, I hope that is you. If it's not, work your way into inner directed. Here are some characteristics of the inner directed. They discovered their own inner potential. Through what? Through introspection. Yeah, what a concept. They did not act in accordance with societal norms necessarily. In fact, they looked inwardly and chose their own norms based on their inner reflections. What a concept. What else? Based on what? I'm sorry, I can't even read my own notes here. Based on what distinct characteristics they had, basically, is where they were getting their norms from. They were confident and they tended to be rigid. I'm not going to give you the whole bona fides on this. I'll just give you the cliff notes on it. They were very confident and tended to be a bit rigid. They knew themselves. They knew their place in society. They placed themselves in that society based on what they knew, basically from their childhood and their own rearing from their parents. What a concept. So again, this is kind of like the next step in, I won't call it cultural evolution, but what could possibly be construed as cultural evolution. So we got the traditional directed, the inner directed, and last but certainly not least, we're going to take a turn for the worse, folks, and we're going to see some commonalities between our current society. So bear with me on this one. Post-industrial revolution, we seem to see these things arise. We see the rise of the middle class. True. So post-industrial revolution, we do see the rise of the middle class. I would argue that the rise of the middle class did not really flourish in what we would know and love it as today. I mean, it's an echo of what it once was. So don't even take that as real. But the real rise of the middle class would occur post-World War II, while Europe and the rest of the world was kind of in ruins. America rose to the top. Baby boomer generation flourished. The Americana classics of the 1950s were just beginning to be on their way. But he's arguing that after the Industrial Revolution, we see the rise of the middle class. We got institutions would become secondary in society. We would see a move away from more tradition and definitely traditional values. We would see a move away from religion. We would see a move away from the family structure. Am I making sense yet? Another big problem is we begin to see a more malleable society. People become more malleable and more likely to join the fold and be more like others. With this, we see the rise of the nefarious, horrible happenstance, what we're living in today, what he termed as the other directed. The other directed have all these characteristics, folks. Put down your coffee, pick up your pencil, take some notes on this. This is important. What are the other directed doing? Well, they're more malleable. They're responding to social forces. They're not really living their lives based on morals, norms, religious, nor family values. Nay. We're seeing an increase in consumer goods. And with that increase in consumer goods, we're also seeing an influx in propaganda. Edward Bernays. We're seeing marketing towards the individual and the group. The group collective, the AKA Borg, is on board. We're seeing people buying not out of necessity, but out of habit. Not out of necessity, but out of want. So marketing is beginning to take place. People are not look out, not in for social cues. So people are looking extrinsically, not intrinsically, to get their cues for what is right and wrong. They're not looking at mom or dad anymore. They're not looking at the religion. They're not looking at the social institutions. They're looking at the marketing. What are their friends doing? They want to accommodate in order to gain approval. Are you seeing that in our current society at all, folks? I think we are. How are we seeing that manifested in today's society, folks? Anybody? Feel free to fill the comments with these. Today's society, we're seeing that left, right, center, and otherwise. Because people are doing things to gain approval. They're doing things to gain likes. They're doing things to get the dopamine drip. They're doing things to get the approval of their friends, of their peers. We're seeing large-scale organizations really like this kind of malleable person because they're not an individual. They're the Borg. They're the sheep that can be easily led. You don't see any alphas. You just see betas. You see people that want to go along to get along. They want to fit in. They want to be like everybody else. Here's a quote from this book. I'll read it to you. The other directed person wants to be loved rather than esteemed. Yeah, write that down, gold star, underline it. The other directed person wants to be loved rather than esteemed. Not to control others, but to relate to them. Yes, we have virtue signalers in real life and in the intro web world too. Virtue signaling so I can get approval. I can get credence from my peers. Don't want to rock the boat. Don't want to be left out. We want to be accepted. We want to be part of the in crowd. By the 1940s, the other directed dominated society and grew, defining self by other standards and not by yours nor social institutions. We're seeing this punctuated by deficiencies in leadership, self-knowledge, and human potential. Are we seeing that in 2025, ladies and gentlemen? Just throw out some thoughts. Things that make you go, as the great Arsenio Hall would often say. We're seeing a real rise in the work-leisure dialectic, and we're seeing all this exacerbated by the mass media and peer groups. What he's talking about in this book between the work-leisure dialectic, he's saying that people now have leisure time. They're middle class. They have leisure time. So how cool you are is predicated on keeping up with the Joneses. Oh, well, you know, Bill posted these pictures online of him and his family in Cancun. You know, they must be doing really well. And you get this wealth envy. You get this class envy. You get this not keeping up with the Joneses mentality. This sprang from this book, The Lonely Crowd. This was really outlining what was going on with the other directed. Keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up with your peers, keeping up so you can fit in. We better go on a vacation too, because, you know, the Joneses went on a vacation. Like that old Circle Jerk song, Mr. Jones and Neighbor Sam. Keeping up with the Joneses. That is our current society. Virtue signaling. That is our current society. People predicating their own self-worth based now not just on the others, but based on the AI version of the others that they perceive to be real, that ain't nothing but a crocodile. Yeah, because now you got filters, you got all kinds of AI. You've seen this all over your social media the last 24, 72 hours, folks. Now you can download an app and put your face on whatever incarnation you want. This ain't even new tech. This is old tech. But it's now somehow new and in vogue to the slave class. So now it's like, oh my goodness, I can put Mariah Carey's head on Mariah Carey's body, and it'll move and articulate and gestate and everything else. Sorry, not gestate. Scratch that. Maybe, but no. It can act just like your head. That's what I'm trying to say, folks. Gesticulate and undulate. Those are the two other eights, not to be confused with gestate. So all you got to do is download this app, and as your head moves, so Mariah Carey's head moves, so Taylor Swift's head moves, so Britney Spears' head moves, so Madonna's head moves, so Megan Thee Stallion's head moves. So whatever regurgitated piece of dog turd that makes up our current in vogue cool kid society, you can be them too. With the right app, you can trick your friends, you can catfish people, and you can just be whatever you want to be. After all, it ain't genetics, it's whatever you happen to be, right, folks? Oh, man. The other directed has taken hold. The inner directed is just a scant memory, a bookmark in time, because now we are absolutely living in the realm, the Borg, the hive mind of the other directed. A complete culture, society, and nation that bases its worth on what other people perceive it to be. In psychology, it's called the looking glass self. Check that out. It's important. Looking glass self. How you perceive yourself is based on how you view others' views of you. What? Yeah, that's how fouled up our society is. That is the looking glass self. So we get the dopamine drips based on other people liking us, not on who we really are, not on who God tells us we are, who we perceive ourselves to be through the lens of others. And now it's even more bizarro world fouled up because it's how others perceive us in the bizarro world satanic death cult of social media. Mind truly blown. We've thrown out a lot of deep into the pool stuff, folks. We've talked a little looking glass self. We've talked about inner directed, trad directed, and other directed through the lens of David Riesman's book, The Lonely Crowd. And we've, of course, talked kind of shallow into the pool with the symbols, rituals, and sacrifice. Whew. I don't know about you, but I'm sweating. The good news is it's supposed to be a little cooler tomorrow in the coastal plain of the Old North State. Please, Lord, give us some cool. All right, we have gone deep into the pool enough this evening. I'm sure most of you are gone. Most of you are crying or something. I don't know. That's fine. Hopefully not. Hopefully the realness is here. The real audience is here. Thank you so much, those of you who are still sticking around with me. Thank you so much for those of you who tuned in to this show tonight at 11:40, taking you into the dark side of the AM. We're sitting at 1:56 Eastern Standard Time. That's it. That's all. I am out. You can't do everything, but you can do something. I'll be seeing you sooner than later. And by that, I mean Tuesday and Thursday, 11:30 to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can't do everything, but you can do something. Please try to get out there, do your part, make a difference, and I'll be seeing you sooner than later in the anomic age.
Thank you for listening to The Anomic Age, a John Age project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to anomicage.com. That's ANOMICAGE.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to The Anomic Age.